So, about 5 years ago, COVID-19 happened, and recently I've been going back and watching a lot of videos that YouTubers like I Just Seen and Austin Evans made, um, basically about the situation. And it's pretty bizarre for me going back and watching a lot of these videos because um, to me, COVID feels like it was yesterday, but it was 5 years ago. And like I'm 16 going on 17. So back then I was 11 years old when COVID happened, and it was, I don't want to say it was a bad time because it really wasn't, but like it was interesting because my friend Jane slept over at my house that night, and we had a pretty normal sleepover. So he was packing up his stuff to go home. And I asked him, I said, what if you ask your dad if you could stay another night? And he's like, yeah, can I? And my mom said, listen, your school called and you have another week off. And I said, since I have that week off, since I have that week off, and so does Jaden, can he sleep over again? And my mom's like, I don't think that's really such a good idea because now all the roads are closed and stuff, and like there's like a curfew. And I said, why? And it's because of this new virus that they've been talking about in the news that I didn't think much about, because when you're 11 you don't really think much about stuff like that. And I'm like, okay. But then that extra week turned into 4 weeks, and that 4 weeks turned into 8 weeks. So like, I want to say a month later, or something like that. I'm a little foggy on like the actual time frame, but my mom's like, you gotta go on your iPad and download this app called Zoom. And I said, okay, why? And she said, I don't know, it sounds like your teacher's gonna have like a meeting with you and everyone, all the kids from your school, or all the kids from your class. And I was like, okay. So I downloaded it, and joined this Zoom meeting, which Zoom at the time was an app that none of us ever heard of. So I joined the meeting, and then she was just talking to us. She was just saying hi to all of us, and that the school was figuring it out and all that stuff. So eventually what happened was we had like Zoom class, which started like a month later after that. And it was like at the end of the school year, and we were originally supposed to go to the capital of Illinois. We were supposed to go to Springfield for a field trip, and that just never happened because COVID happened. And I'm not gonna lie to you when I say I really didn't want to go on the trip, but reflecting on it now, it kind of would have been cool to go camping and see everybody. So that happened, and we were all quarantined inside. So I made a group. It was I was kind of what I consider to be the perfect grade for this to happen to, because my grade was like, we were going from 5th to 6th grade during COVID, during the distance learning stuff. So we were going from 5th to 6th grade during the distance learning stuff, which means we did not have to like switch classes often. I mean, we did have to switch classes, but it was for like gym class, music class, and art class. So once they figured it out, we had to finish reading this book, and then since we obviously couldn't have the physical books, the teacher just read it out loud as like an audiobook, which was kind of interesting. But my I basically it was like really short. Like these Zoom meetings were very short. So I would go in like what I would do is I would have my phone like this, and then I would have Zoom on it because our Chromebooks were just god awful and could barely run Zoom. So what I would do is I'd have my AirPods in, and then I'd have them hooked up to my phone. So what I'd do is I'd have the Zoom meeting up, but I would swipe out of it, so then it would go into like the corner, and then I would have music on, and then I would just be texting with my friends. Like I still had it so I could hear the Zoom meeting, so I can understand and hear what's going on, but like I wouldn't sit there and do that. So basically 2020 was closing, and basically my day in 2020 consisted of wake up, do the distance learning stuff, get off really early, and then hop on FaceTime with my friends and go play Fortnite, or yeah, I think it was mostly Fortnite, but we also played like Minecraft and Rocket League. So that was pretty much what my day consisted of back then. And thinking about it now, there's a lot of things that were a lot different. Like, I was lucky enough where I was in 6th grade for the second half, or like what I consider like the last half of 2020 and the first half of 2021. I didn't go back to school. So let's see. So we stopped going March of 2020 for distance learning. I didn't end up going back till, like, some kids were able to go back during January if you wanted to. I didn't go back till basically the beginning of May of 2021. Think about that. I didn't go to school, or like I didn't go to the school building for a year and a half, basically. For like a little less than a year and a half. Like, it was very interesting going back because it was interesting just seeing everyone in my class and seeing like all these different kids like that I was friends with and hadn't seen for a year, that like I considered people I knew pretty well. And that happened, and like lunch was interesting because it was only like 3 to a table. So like it was me, my friend Antonio, and then Joey, this kid where we were friends with, Joey Durante, sat like all the way across from us, and we just sat there like talking, but we were like yelling to each other because it was like 3 to a table, so it didn't make sense. And eventually most of the COVID stuff by like the middle of 2021 kind of closed up, and then I went on to 7th grade. I graduated elementary school and went on to 7th grade, and then I was in my elementary school was up to 6th grade, so middle school started the next year for us. So we still had masks up until sometime in 2022, and then once we got to 8th grade, all of the COVID crap with like the masks and stuff was just done. Like, we didn't need masks anymore. Like, there were those few kids that wore them, but like it was pretty much over at that point. And it's interesting seeing the long-term effects of COVID, because in COVID, we just spent our time pretty much just grinding TikTok, just scrolling through TikTok and watching as much YouTube content as we could. And like it's kind of affected a lot of us socially, in the fact that like once COVID ended and we had to talk to each other again, we kind of forgot how to talk to each other. Like, it was just hard to social. It was just harder to socialize, and I feel like that's like COVID is still having long lasting effects on some kids, but like most of my generation, I feel like would have been way more social, and I'm by no means saying I'm a social butterfly, but I feel like most of my generation would probably be a lot more social if COVID didn't happen. But I guess it is what it is, because I still feel like part of my generation is pretty good. So yeah, it's been pretty interesting just reflecting on COVID and everything that happened during it. So yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed. Comment, like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys again in the next video. Or if this is an archive, goodbye. Bye.